What if there was a principle capable of guiding not only your spiritual journey but your entire life? A philosophy that challenges traditional belief systems and invites you to discover your true nature. In this episode, we explore the Law of Thelema, a system of thought introduced by Aleister Crowley, a figure often surrounded by controversy but undeniably influential in modern esotericism. This principle has shaped occult practices, artistic movements, and alternative philosophies over the last century. The origins of Thelema. Thelema as a spiritual philosophy originates from a pivotal moment in 1904 when Aleister Crowley, during a stay in Cairo with his wife Rose Edith Kelly, claimed to have received a direct communication from a non-physical entity known as Aiwass. According to Crowley, over the course of 3 days, he transcribed what would become the Book of the Law, Liber AL vel Legis, a foundational text of Thelema. This document was not written as a personal theory but rather as a revelation, claimed to have been dictated to him by Aiwass, who introduced himself as the messenger of the gods. The content outlines a new spiritual era, referred to as the Aeon of Horus, which emphasizes personal freedom, individual will, and self-knowledge. While some considered Crowley's claims to be fabricated or the result of psychological delusion, the philosophical foundation he laid out in this book soon became central to several esoteric orders and occult practices. Over time, Thelema evolved from a mystical experience into a codified philosophy with practical applications. It would go on to influence a variety of groups and thinkers, not just within occultism, but also in literature, art, and psychology. The core principle, do what thou wilt. Perhaps the most famous phrase from the Book of the Law is, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." This line is often misunderstood. At first glance, it can appear to promote unrestrained behavior or selfish indulgence. However, in Thelemic thought, it refers to true will, a concept central to the philosophy. True will is not equivalent to a passing desire or emotional whim. Instead, it refers to an individual's deep, inherent purpose, the reason they exist. Thelema teaches that discovering and acting in alignment with your true will leads to spiritual and personal harmony. In contrast to traditional religious doctrines that often impose external moral codes, Thelema encourages self-discovery. According to this perspective, morality should arise from understanding your authentic path rather than following societal expectations or dogma. To identify one's true will, Thelemites, practitioners of Thelema, use methods such as meditation, magical rituals, reflective journaling, study of symbolic and esoteric texts. The point isn't to escape rules, but rather to live from a place of clarity, purpose, and autonomy. Just as celestial bodies move harmoniously along their orbits without collision, the philosophy suggests that humans acting in alignment with their true will also coexist peacefully. The complementary maxim, love is the law, love under will. The second foundational statement in Thelema is, love is the law, love under will. This is not a sentimental or romantic expression. In this context, love is seen as a unifying force that connects all of existence. But it is love under will, meaning it must be directed consciously and responsibly, not driven by impulse or dependency. Crowley described love not as a mere emotion but as a universal principle. In his view, genuine love emerges when each person is true to themselves and respects the freedom of others to do the same. This perspective extends to all human interactions, romantic, social, and even spiritual. The idea is that authentic relationships can only form when both parties are committed to their own true will and support the other in doing likewise. This teaching promotes an ethical approach that doesn't rely on rigid external systems but rather on a deep internal understanding of one's nature and responsibilities. The Book of the Law is divided into 3 chapters, each associated with a spiritual entity and a unique dimension of human experience. 1. Nut, or Nu. The first chapter is attributed to Nut, the Egyptian goddess representing the infinite sky and universal love. She symbolizes the limitless potential within all beings. Her message encourages self-expansion, transcendence of ego, and the celebration of individual uniqueness, captured in the line, "Every man and every woman is a star." 2. Hadit, the second chapter focuses on Cited, the hidden point of consciousness within each person. He represents the active principle, the spark of life, and the drive toward realization of true will. His teachings emphasize inner exploration, self-empowerment, and spiritual self-reliance. 3. Aleister, the final chapter is associated with Aleister, a fiery and combative expression of the Egyptian god Horus. His tone is more confrontational, symbolizing the destruction of outdated systems and the birth of new structures that honor individual strength and responsibility. This chapter marks the Aeon of Horus, a time of spiritual maturity, self-determination, and transformation. Together, these three entities represent different stages and forces in the journey towards spiritual fulfillment: infinite potential, Newt, internal awareness, Cited, and active transformation, Aleister. Thelema is more than a theoretical system, it invites practical application in everyday life. Here's how it can be integrated. Self-reflection: keeping a magical or personal journal helps track thoughts, behaviors, and emotional patterns. Over time, this helps in identifying what aligns, and what conflicts, with one's true will. Daily rituals: basic rituals like the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram help maintain spiritual discipline and clarity. They are designed to realign the individual with higher principles and clear mental clutter. Study: reading foundational Thelemic texts, including Crowley's own writings, is encouraged. While Crowley's language can be dense and symbolic, it's through patient study that deeper insights emerge. Inner work: the pursuit of true will involves facing one's limitations, fears, and unconscious tendencies. Practices such as mindfulness, breath work, or esoteric meditation aid in that internal alignment. Respecting others' paths: Thelema does not promote imposing one's beliefs on others. Instead, it fosters a respect for autonomy. As each person finds and follows their true will, they help create a more harmonious world. While many consider Thelema a mystical or abstract idea, it's actually designed for practical use. The purpose of Thelema is not to create followers of doctrine, but to help individuals become their most authentic selves. Here's how that plays out in real life. To discover one's true will, self-awareness is essential. This doesn't happen overnight. Thelemic practitioners often use tools like meditation and breath work to develop mental clarity, magical or reflective journaling to observe emotional patterns, dream work and symbolic analysis to explore the subconscious. This process of introspection helps distinguish between surface-level desires and the deeper, guiding purpose of one's life. Although Thelema promotes personal freedom, that freedom is developed through discipline and knowledge. Studying texts like Liber AL vel Legis or other writings by Aleister Crowley and modern Thelemites provides valuable context for those walking this path. Esoteric orders such as the A therefore, Argentium Astrum, and Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO, offer structured initiation systems. These aren't required but can support those seeking a deeper, guided journey. Daily rituals are an important part of Thelemic living. A common example is the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, which helps clear and center the practitioner. Other rituals focus on invoking the holy guardian angel, a symbolic representation of the higher self or true will. These practices aren't about dogma, they're about training the mind, managing energy, and creating consistency in spiritual development. Thelema is sometimes mistaken for a system without ethics because it rejects externally imposed moral codes. In reality, it teaches that each person is responsible for their own actions and consequences. Living according to your true will doesn't mean ignoring the well-being of others. On the contrary, Thelema stresses respect for the true will of others. Interfering with another's purpose is viewed as unethical and disruptive to the natural harmony of the universe. The true will isn't limited to spiritual matters. It extends into career, creativity, relationships, and health. Living Thelema means striving for authenticity and purpose in all areas, seeking not just to do your job, but to express your essence through it. Whether you're an artist, entrepreneur, teacher, or engineer, the goal is to align your work and lifestyle with who you truly are. As with many esoteric traditions, Thelema has been subject to controversy and misinterpretation. Here are a few clarifications. Myth 1, do what thou wilt, means do whatever you want. This is the most widespread misunderstanding. Critics often reduce Thelema to a license for hedonism or lawlessness. But true will is not about indulgence. It's about understanding your life's deeper purpose and acting in harmony with it. Crowley compared true will to a star following its path across the sky. There's precision, intention, and respect for cosmic order. Myth 2, Thelema is satanic or evil. Due to Crowley's controversial image and use of occult symbols, Thelema has sometimes been labeled satanic by religious or media sources. However, Thelema is not associated with devil worship, nor does it promote harm, sacrifice, or the worship of dark entities. Instead, it focuses on spiritual self-empowerment, exploration of the unconscious, and philosophical inquiry. It has more in common with ancient mystical traditions than anything resembling evil. Myth 3, Crowley promoted chaos and immorality. Aleister Crowley did present himself provocatively, often using shocking language and challenging taboos. But many of his most controversial ideas were symbolic or experimental, rather than literal instructions. His aim was to break through religious hypocrisy and encourage people to think freely. While his style isn't universally appreciated, dismissing Thelema based on his persona alone ignores the depth of the philosophy. Myth 4, Thelema rejects ethics and morality. Thelema does reject externally imposed morality, but it replaces it with internal responsibility. The idea is that morality should emerge from a deep understanding of one's will, not from fear or social control. Thelemites are expected to respect others, uphold personal integrity, and pursue balance, not chaos. Despite originating in the early 20th century, Thelema continues to resonate with seekers around the world. Here's why. It empowers individuality. In a time of growing pressure to conform, Thelema reminds us that authenticity is not only possible but necessary. It bridges science and spirituality. Thelema encourages rational thought, study, and experience, rather than blind belief. It promotes freedom with responsibility. Unlike rigid systems of control, it fosters self-governance based on personal understanding and discipline. It offers practical tools, from journaling and meditation to ritual and symbolic analysis. Thelema gives individuals real ways to evolve. Thelema isn't for everyone, but for those who are willing to seek deeply, study consistently, and live purposefully. It offers a path of personal transformation rooted in clarity and intention. At its core, Thelema teaches that you are the author of your life. It doesn't offer simple answers, but it gives you the tools to find your own. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. These aren't vague poetic phrases. They are calls to action, to live with honesty, freedom, and depth. So now the question becomes, what is your true will? Because once you discover it, and live it fully, everything else begins to align. If this video helped clarify the law of Thelema for you, consider liking and sharing. Leave a comment with your thoughts, especially if you're on your own path of discovery. Thanks for watching, and remember, your will is your compass.